The In-Fisherman staff has often been instrumental in highlighting tactical breakthroughs that change the way the larger fishing public approaches the sport. Few anglers likely realize, for example, that more than 30 years ago, our staff was the first to illustrate the use of flipping tactics for largemouth bass. In recent times, as fishing has become more and more technical, breakthroughs often are on a small scale. Here, we suggest a tactical change in combination with a change in thinking about what smallmouths might actually be feeding on. Such tactical changes often result in much bigger catches.
Man, wait till you get a peek at this smallmouth. He is giganto. A pugnacious fish. Look at here. That fish is gonna go 5.5, 6 pounds. That's for this northern body of water. That is a big fish when you're not on the Great Lakes right there. That's a Great Lakes style smallmouth right there. Man, oh man. I wish I had my camera, but I left it home. And we're gonna talk a revolutionary or an evolutionary system for fishing soft plastics. And we have come a long way. I'm guessing that fish is almost 22 inches long, 21.5 anyway. All right, back you go, big guy. And what's happened is that we have started to connect 3 different bait species to fishing for smallmouth bass. And of course on the Great Lakes you've got gobies, but on the Great Lakes before the smallmouths were eating gobies, they were eating sculpins. And in all the other lakes across the country there are sculpins where there aren't gobies, but the other fish that does the same thing as sculpins and goby does is the darter. And we've got darters in most natural lakes, and they all don't have much of a swim bladder, so they all kind of scurry along the bottom. So what we've gone to, especially on the Great Lakes, now think about this, we were dragging tubes for smallmouths on the Great Lakes. And that kind of went away, and one of the things that's happened in the Great Lakes now, and this is what we're trying to imitate right here, is that we've got, instead of a classic swim bait like I've been fishing so often, like the Berkeley Hollow Belly and the Berkeley Power Bait Flatback Shad, this is kind of what I call a grinder swim bait, a hybrid swim bait. It's a long, thin swim bait. This happens to be the Berkeley Havoc Grass Pig, and it was designed actually for fishing in grass, but it looks just like a goby, it looks just like a sculpin, it looks just like a darter. So when you swim these along the bottom, and this is what we've come to now. Tubes are still producing sometimes, but when tubes aren't producing, this is what you got to go to right here. Oh, way out there. On the long cast. It had just touched bottom and I just moved it once and he had it. That was the classic style retrieve to use with the grinder, because you move it along just as slow as you possibly can for about 10 feet to get the fish's attention, and then you just pause it on the bottom, give it a little flip, give it a little flip, move it about 3 inches, Fish is coming up. Oh, another big fish, man. Whee-yah! I love it. Into the frable. Everything's gonna look small compared to that first, or smaller compared to that first one, but this is a beauty. Beautiful fish again. That fish is close to 4. And there's the bait. Pretty fish. Well, I'll put him back fast, and we're going to talk about the bait. Again, classic retrieve for these grinder style baits. Make a long cast. All right, then move it along, right along the bottom. Just make it swim and grind just slowly, right along the bottom for about 6, 8, 10 feet, so you get the fish's attention. Then stop it right flat on the bottom. Give it a little chunk, a little chunk, a little chunk. Let it set. A lot of times they'll take it right off the bottom. So that is imitating these bait fish, the goby, the sculpin, the darter, that really don't have swim bladders, so they don't swim up off the bottom like shad do and the rest of the bait species. They're scurrying along the bottom. So they're used to these kind of baits being presented like that. That's the secret. The rigging is just ultra simple. This is a 5-inch Berkeley Havoc Grass Pig once again. There's a top and a bottom, and it's actually got a split in it for using swim bait style jigging and that kind of thing. But this is just a straight owner jig head, one of my favorites, a 1/2 ounce, just in the head of the bait. And slip it on, give it a quick turn, so she's riding up like this. There we go. Right off that little rock pile there, I had a waypoint mark on it. In we go. Beautiful. Oh man, these are just incredible fish. Beautiful. Wow. almost as good as it gets. Smallmouth, everybody's favorite fish. Beautiful, probably 3 3/4 on this one, close to 4 pounds.